Hello everybody and welcome back to Tech Tactics. Today we're diving into the Asrock low-profile Intel Arc A380 6GB graphics card. Intel's entry-level discrete GPU designed for budget-conscious gamers and aspiring content creators. For testing, I've got it running on my trusty i9-13900K setup, paired with an Acer Z790 motherboard and 64GB of DDR5 RAM. We're not letting any bottlenecks hold this thing back. Oh, and yes, resizable bar is enabled. So, the big question, is the Intel Arc A380 worth your money in 2025? Let's find out. But first, here's the segue. The online marketplace for CD keys and software. G2A.com, where you can find discounts on all the keys you need. Alright, let's jump into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. We're rolling at 1080p on low settings, with AMD FSR 3.1 set to quality mode. Depth of field and motion blur are switched off. The Asrock Intel Arc A380 GPU is packing a solid 2000 MHz base clock, and with a boost up to 2050 MHz. The 96-bit memory bus, 6GB of GDDR6 VRAM, 32 ROPs, and 1024 cores make sure this budget-friendly card holds its own, especially with support for DirectX 12 Ultimate and PCI Express 4.0. Ports-wise, you've got one DisplayPort 2.0 with DSC and one HDMI 2.0. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the flagship card, but that's what makes it interesting. I grabbed it for $119.99, and good luck finding one in the UK right now. If you can snag it, it's a solid deal for that price. Now, in terms of performance, you can expect an average of around 50 FPS in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and the 1% lows of 39 FPS. With the 0.1% lows dipping to 35 FPS, there's no noticeable stuttering or major frame drops, just smooth, constant gameplay from this budget GPU straight out of the box. Honestly, not bad for the price. Up next is Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced Edition, running at native 1080p and on the high settings preset, with motion blur and depth of field off, of course. The Intel Arc A380 steps into the spotlight with its AV1 hardware accelerated encoding, and it's no slouch, this little card punches above its weight when it comes to streaming. In fact, its AV1 encoder can beat out traditional H.264 solutions. Yep, even Nvidia's at lower bit rates. We're talking AV1 at 3.5 MB per second looking better than H.264 at 6 MB per second in some cases. If you're building a budget-friendly streaming PC, this GPU definitely deserves a look. Just keep in mind, Intel Arc GPUs really need resizable bar enabled to perform properly. It's a deal breaker if your system doesn't support it. I'll probably do a deeper dive on that in a future video. As for raw performance in Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced Edition, the Asrock Intel Arc A380 averages around 63 FPS, with 1% lows at 44 FPS and 40 FPS for the 0.1% lows. That's a noticeable dip, but for this price point, it's still a solid niche contender. The next game on the list is Deus Ex Mankind Divided, running at native 1080p with the medium graphics preset. As with previous titles, motion blur and depth of field are disabled for a cleaner experience. Despite being released back in August 2016 and lacking ray tracing support, the game still looks fantastic and holds up remarkably well by today's standards. Performance on the Arc A380 is surprisingly solid. This GPU is currently available in the United Kingdom with prices ranging from about £110 to £135, depending on the retailer and stock availability. Considering how affordable this card is, it's actually a pretty good deal for gamers on a budget. Deus Ex remains one of my all-time favourite franchises, and nearly a decade later, Mankind Divided continues to deliver an immersive and visually impressive experience. In terms of performance, the Asrock Intel Arc delivers an average of 47 FPS, with a 1% low of 24 FPS, and a 0.1% low of 15 FPS, making the Arc A380 capable of handling a variety of gaming titles, both new and old. The next game is Fallout 4 at native 1080p on the high graphics preset, with motion blur and depth of field disabled for a sharper experience. By now, the Asrock A380 has shown itself to be a solid performer at this resolution. I highlighted its potential in my video. This mini PC build will change your streaming game forever, and I've got a follow-up coming soon that dives into its performance in both streaming and gameplay capture scenarios. This card, with a TDP of just 75 watts, the A380 is impressively power efficient, ideal for small form factor builds. In Fallout 4, the A380 delivers an average of 56 FPS, with 1% lows at 16 FPS and 0.1% lows dropping to 2 FPS. Despite these occasional dips, the game remains smooth overall, with just the odd micro stutter. Not too shabby for the most affordable RTX class GPU from Team Blue. The last game today for the A380 is Atomfall at 1080p on medium settings, and with motion blur and depth of field disabled. In Atomfall, the Intel Arc held up with an average of 93 FPS and a 1% low of 68 FPS. Additionally, the 0.1% lows hitting 48 FPS. Not bad at all for a budget GPU. So, is the Arc A380 still worth picking up in 2025? The short answer is absolutely yes. If you know what you're aiming to use this card for, that is. You're not grabbing this card to max out a Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing. But for competitive titles like Valorant, Counter-Strike 2 or Rocket League, or if you're building a compact streaming setup, it's a solid pick. It also punches way above its class in media encoding, which makes it a great option for streamers and content creators. My final verdict is, if you're after a low-profile, wallet-friendly GPU for casual gaming, content creation or streaming, the Asrock Intel Arc A380 still could be a good choice in 2025. Smash that like button if this video helped you out or you just find me entertaining. Please drop your questions in the comments and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Goodbye.